So, we are all settled, and let me, first of all, dear Your Excellencies, colleagues, guests of the Parliament, the year of 2017 is a special one, and a lot has been said already about it, that this is a special one for our international foreign policy in particular, as we celebrate 25 years of diplomatic relations with many of your countries. Before I move to the topic of the third panel, which is a very important one, I wanted to take a moment and to thank my good colleague and friend, in fact, Sopiko, who many of you did already thank, for putting together this event and for granting us the occasion of reflecting, of celebrating, and of thanking you, in fact, for being with us for this 25 years and for contributing to making Georgia what it is. The past 25 years have been, it was a bumpy road, and many of you referred to it as a journey from independence to modern democracy. But in fact, it was really a bumpy road. It's a mixture of successes and failures and challenges and opportunities and bitter and sweet moments. But we made it, we evolved, and this has become possible due to the support and cooperation that this country, that Georgia, has enjoyed with its international partners. And I take this opportunity again to thank you all for this. The topic of the third panel is building bridges through stronger economic, educational, and cultural ties. And let me reverse it a little bit, and let me start with education, because in fact everything starts with education. Democracy starts with education, and prosperity starts with education as well. And many of the ambassadors who spoke on different panels, many of them referred to these educational programs that many of your countries do support. And this is, in fact, a very important contribution to the development of this country in all aspects, in all areas, in all sectors. And it is probably very important to once again stress how much we appreciate this assistance, how much we value it, and how much we believe that this should be further continued and supported. I have personally benefited from some of these cooperation programs that have assisted students and young people of Georgia to get education in a different country, and these exchange experiences, these experiences of multicultural experiences do help us in becoming a different kind of a country, a modern country. And it is important to highlight the importance of this. When we were celebrating just slightly over a month ago a Europe Day in Georgia, we were putting together some figures, and it struck me that only through Erasmus program in 2 years there were about 1,700 students who had an opportunity to study in various EU countries. I mean, this is really a very, very high figure, and this adds up to all the other programs of other countries, and I don't want to name because I might miss someone, and I don't want to do that, to make that mistake. But this is an important contribution to the development of our country. Now, moving on to the other things, moving on to the other areas. No country is developed in isolation, and there is no way to becoming a prosperous country without having strong partnerships, strong cooperation with other countries. Georgia has made its foreign policy priorities very clear. It has been mentioned here on this stage many, many times. We aspire one day to become members of the European Union. And this is a very ambitious statement. We understand that. We understand that this is not going to come in few days. But we are ready and we are committed to this very complex path. And in the meantime, we are committed to develop this country, to reform Georgia, to reform all sectors that relate to or that are important in making this country a prosperous one. We have closer relations with European Union than ever. It has been mentioned here also already. We have the association agreement that forms the basic framework for the future development of this country. And we have also, as part of the association agreement, of course, the free trade agreement, the DCFTA, which is an important, which should become an important driving force for further economic development of this country. As we have said many times, we fully realize that the potential of DCFTA is not yet fully absorbed. But the fact that it is there, of course, opens up new opportunities for Georgia and Georgia's economic development. But EU is not the only country with which, of course, we have the free trade agreements, and that is also something which should be mentioned. Also in the region, important is that Georgia has free trade agreements with Turkey, with Azerbaijan, with Ukraine. We are open to more contacts, better engagement, greater economic opportunities, and we believe that this is where the future lies. This goes hand in hand with our national development program and the national development plan, which was also already mentioned here by the speaker in his opening remarks. And on cultural side, and the culture side, we are very proud people, and we are proud of what we have. His Excellency, Ambassador of Kingdom of Netherlands, quoted the preamble of Georgia's constitution. And as he pointed out in the preamble, I mean, we take pride in this, that we are not only limiting ourselves to universally recognized values and standards and fundamentals of constitution, but we are referring to our culture, our heritage, our roots, because this is something we take particular pride in. This is what makes us Georgians. And because of this, we are very happy to make Georgia more accessible to everyone, for everyone. We don't only take pride in us having, let's say, visa-free regime with European Union where our citizens can freely travel to EU and promote Georgia, but we are happy to receive people of different nations in this country, and we are happy when they live with positive memories, when they cherish the moments they spent in Georgia. This is something also that we take pride in. And we are proud of the fact that last year has been quite remarkable in terms of tourism. We've had over 6 million tourists last year, so that is quite a figure. And let me here also thank you, because I think that you have contributed to that a lot as being ambassadors of your countries in this country, because we know that you speak to your compatriots about your experiences in Georgia, and this is what makes this country attractive to more and more people. So we are open to better engagement, to more engagement with all of you. We cherish what we have achieved already with this joint effort and joint work for the past 25 years. But as I've said on a different occasion, on something completely different, but I will repeat it here again, this is not the peak of our ambition. We have a lot ahead of us, and I'm sure we can do even more. And I count on your further support for next 25 years and beyond, of course. Thank you very much. So let me pass the floor to Ambassador of the People's Republic of Bangladesh to Georgia. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished chair of this forum, distinguished members of parliament, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. It's indeed a great pleasure for me, and I believe my diplomatic colleagues, to be here today and share the podium and the hall with the people and the leaders of Georgia. This is a great occasion, and I join my colleagues in offering our heartiest congratulations to the people and the government of Georgia on the occasion of the 25th anniversary of establishment of Georgia's diplomatic relations with the international community. Today's forum, I believe, would provide all the participants with an opportunity to exchange ideas as to how to effectively utilize diplomacy as the medium of interested dialogue to address the issues of difference, diffuse tension, harness amity, and forge cooperation. Let me talk a bit about my country, Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a country born out of a bloody war of liberation in 1971 under the leadership of the founding father of Bangladesh, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. That's why, as we have suffered a lot for our independence, we base our foreign policy on the peaceful coexistence and mutual trust and respect. Since Bangladesh believes in the use of soft diplomatic means for maintaining peace in the international system, she takes serious interest in promoting economic, educational, and cultural ties between and among the friendly countries. Bangladesh also takes inspiration from her socio-economic achievements despite many odds and challenges. As The Guardian has recently put in an op-ed, Bangladesh's story so far over the last 46 years has been a story of triumphs against odds. We are a small country with a large population. Bangladesh has been maintaining an impressive economic growth rate of more than 6% for the last 9 years. Despite enormous challenges, Bangladesh has never experienced economic contraction nor failed in macroeconomic stability. The success of Bangladesh in areas of poverty alleviation, reduction of maternal and child mortality rate, enrollment in primary education, and parity in gender, women empowerment, etc., has been notable and recognized by the international community. However, we are not complacent, and we are trying to follow a sustainable, pro-people, and inclusive growth model. Now, when we look at Georgia, distinguished guests, we see some kind of similarity between Bangladesh and Georgia, because Georgia has a great asset in its people. This is my second visit to Georgia, and I have seen the warmth, the hospitality, the kindness, and the spirit that the people of Georgia has. I'm sure that Georgia has a great future. Bangladesh attaches great importance to her relations with Georgia. The friendly relations between Bangladesh and Georgia have grown from strength to strength over the decades. Bangladesh and Georgia maintain excellent relations in the international fora and support each other. Bangladesh observes with admiration the progress Georgia has persistently been making throughout the last 26 years of its independence. And the reforms in the economic arena, the institutionalization of democracy, free press are really hallmarks of Georgia's achievements. As Bangladesh believes in the peaceful coexistence of the nation states, she is closely working with her friendly countries in areas of culture, education, trade, and economy. In the similar spirit, Bangladesh is committed to pursue deeper engagement with Georgia in further promoting socio-economic and cultural bonds. We are going to have the first ever foreign ministry level consultations between our two countries in September this year in Bangladesh. Recently, chair of the External Relations Committee, Madam, had visited Bangladesh to take part at the IPU conference in Dhaka in April this year. And we are going to forge relations and camaraderie between our two parliaments. We believe that utilizing people's power and following the growth of, following a model of inclusive growth, we can help each other, we can learn from each other. We have a lot to learn from Georgia also. For example, the city hall concept that Georgia has been successfully following in offering its citizens one-stop service within a very quick, shortest period of time is something that we want to learn from. So I will stop here, and I'm sure that amity, peace, inclusiveness, not within the domestic sphere only, also in the international arena, is the only way to actually overcome the problems that we have been suffering from in today's world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Our next speaker is His Excellency Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Georgia.
Please bring your headphones. Please bring your headphones.
Okay.
Please bring your headphones. Please bring your headphones.
尊敬的科巴西泽议长、各位议员、各位阁下，感谢议长发起庆祝建交25周年大使论坛。今天的工作论坛对我来说呢，用的是英文，对我来说呢有些障碍，但并不因此影响我们之间的交流。那么，我首先感谢一下坐在同船间里的女翻译，因为她的出现，使我的使馆的翻译失业。那么，她今天将得不到工资。语言是人与人、国与国、民族之间交流的重要媒介。通过语言交流，我们可以了解对方，认识对方，并形成共识，开始合作。中国与格鲁吉亚是世界上为数不多的两个古老的国家。格鲁吉亚第一任皇帝法尔纳巴兹一世和中国的秦始皇是同时代的人。他们两个人对国家做出了同样的贡献，即统一了自己国家的语言。中国文化交流历史悠久，古丝绸之路通过格鲁吉亚将亚洲和欧洲连接起来，成为佳话。1893年，中国的茶商刘俊洲来到了格鲁吉亚的西部，种植中国茶树，获得了成功。他创造的流茶举世闻名，格鲁吉亚茶也成为世界的名茶之一。这是刘先生为中国茶文化交流做出的重要贡献。上世纪80年代，刘先生的孙女在格开始讲习汉语。现在格汉语教学已形成规模，有1所孔子学院、8所大学和20多所学校开设了汉语课，在校的学生达到了1000多人。从2011年起，中国大学就开设了格鲁吉亚课程。娜达莉亚女士编写了第一部中文的格鲁吉亚语课本，在中国出版。中国和格鲁吉亚建交25周年来，双方在传统关系基础上展开了全方位合作。中国已成为格的第4大贸易伙伴，第2大葡萄酒出口国，是重要的投资国之一。今年5月13日，双方在北京正式签署了自由贸易协定，为中格两国经济、贸易、投资及各领域的合作创造了广阔平台。该协议签署对推动格作为连接欧亚大陆通道建设将发挥重要作用。 在庆祝中俄建交25周年的招待会上，格鲁吉亚总理科维里卡什维里说，中国国家主席习近平提出的一带一路是一个全球性的倡议。俄作为连接欧洲和亚洲市场的桥梁，十分重视并积极参与一带一路。我高度评价各领导层对当代全球问题的清醒认识，即和平和发展是当今世界的主题。Development, peace and development. The development, peace and development. 一带一路既是一个经济发展倡议，也是一个不同文明交流的倡议。我们希望世界各国政府和人民通过欧亚十字路口的格鲁吉亚，建立起一个经济文化交流的平台、通道和桥梁。Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Our next speaker is Ambassador of Republic of India to Georgia.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, First Deputy Chair, Deputy Chair, Head of the Foreign Relations Committee of the Parliament, Head of the EU Integration Committee of the Parliament, Excellencies, dear friends. I am very happy to attend the session called by the Parliament of Georgia on the establishment of 25 years of diplomatic relations with various countries. The Austrian ambassador and the Chinese ambassador mentioned about historical links. So let me mention that in the 17th century, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb's wife was a Georgian lady, Udaipuri Begum. After Georgia's independence, we have established the Intergovernmental Commission and the Foreign Office consultations, which are held regularly. The last sessions were held last year. Our Minister of Civil Aviation visited Georgia last year and met the Georgian Prime Minister, President, first Vice Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister. We are also exploring the possibility of establishing direct air links, which will be very helpful in people-to-people contacts. Our Ministry of Commerce has initiated a study to have a free trade agreement with Georgia, which will help economic relations. Tata Power, a prominent company in India, has invested in $416 million hydroelectric power plant in western Georgia, which will be commissioned in August this year, along with Norwegian investors and international financial institutions. Another non-resident Indian based in UK has invested about 67 million in an iron and steel plant here. Many Indians I know have taken agricultural land and are using the opportunities for establishing business links. In the education side, we have the India Technical and Economic Cooperation Program, which has been availed by Georgian youngsters, over 100 of them, to train in India. Over 2,000 Indian students are studying in various courses, primarily in medical universities in Georgia. And there is more and more interest, and we are receiving requests from Georgian universities to get recognition by the Medical Council of India. So it is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Indians like to come here and study. They find the quality good. It is economical. Under the Intergovernmental Commission, we are also exploring the possibility of setting up India-Georgia Center of Excellence in IT. People-to-people links can be seen from the fact that almost every Georgian television channel has Indian television serials dubbed in Georgian. And also, in recent years, we have seen a lot of Bollywood producers are coming to shoot in Georgia because of the wonderful and beautiful locations, and this will surely promote people-to-people links and promote tourism. So we look forward to a even more vigorous and intense relationship, both people-to-people and economic fields, and even political, with Georgia in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Our next speaker is Ms. Silvia Peto, Deputy Head of Mission of Hungary to Georgia.
Thank you. Dear Mr. Chairman, dear Deputy Chairs, Chairs of Committees, Excellencies, colleagues, on this occasion, I would like to shortly speak about the educational cooperation between Georgia and Hungary. Firstly, I would like to highlight the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship program, which was started in 2013 by the Hungarian government. The mission of this program is very diverse. Our aim is to increase the number of foreign students in Hungary, increase the competitiveness and visibility of Hungarian higher education, broaden the scientific relationships, and to promote Hungarian cultural values and traditions. All in all, this scholarship program is a solid basis for improvement of our economic and political relations with Georgia as well. Currently, we have more than 50 partner countries all around the world, including Georgia. With Georgia, the scholarship program started in 2014, and we have 2 very successful academic years behind us, with approximately 100 Georgian students already participated in this program. Our experience is that among Georgians, the most popular study fields are the business and management, international relations, psychology, agricultural sciences, engineering and technology, medical sciences, and art studies, especially music programs at our famous Liszt Ferenc Music Academy. This year, I had the chance to be a member of the selection board for this scholarship, so at the interviews, I could have first-hand experience how Georgian students were well-prepared, self-confident, and ready for discover a new country, learn something new, and then coming back to Georgia, and use the acquired knowledge and experience for contribution to the development of their country. Just recently, we prolonged this program until 2020, and also we increased the quota for Georgian students from 50 to 80 students per academic year. This means that from this September, 80 Georgian students can start their studies in Hungary, financed by the Hungarian government. We are proud that this year we will receive approximately 4,000 students from all around the world in the framework of the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship program. And beyond this, I would like to just mention another educational cooperation of the Visegrad 4 countries. The International Visegrad Fund provides scholarships for our Eastern partners, including Georgia, for the purpose of studying at the universities of Poland, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, or Hungary. Finally, let me congratulate for the 25th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Georgia and Hungary, and also between Georgia and all other countries being represented here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And our next speaker is Ambassador of Italian Republic to Georgia.
Mr. Speaker, First Deputy Speaker, Madam Chair, let me also concur in congratulating Sopico for this great effort, and you are really the symbol, you all, of the competence and determination of Georgian young generation of leaders. This still full room is also the symbol of the achievements of Georgia, and maybe also the resilience of Georgia. I am very happy to be in this session, because, as you underscored at the very beginning, economy, culture, and education are comprehensive factors and are crucial ones. why are they crucial? Because I think that, are exactly the factors that allow a country, notwithstanding the dimension, the size of the country, to go beyond the limits. I'm looking at the audience and I see the representatives of two countries, just to give an example, and without resorting to oil, relatively small countries and very influential ones. I see Switzerland, a relatively small country, mountainous, poor in the past, and very rich now. And I look at Vatican. You can think of the vast influence, soft power of such a small country. So culture, education, economy are exactly the factors on which to hinge to acquire a power which can go much beyond the limits that geography, history have given to each of our countries. Talking about briefly Italy in these three fields, economy. We are the second trade partner of Georgia. We are also the second manufacturing country of Europe. And I guess that we can be of a certain interest for Georgia as a partner and for Georgia wanted to take full advantage of this DCFTA. We are working on that. There was a wonderful visit of the Prime Minister with half government in Rome for a business forum engaging 400 people, 250 companies. This is not a magic wand, but it was quite effective in moving things, and I receive a lot of delegations here of companies, and they're exploring the market. And because Georgia does have all the elements to be interesting for Italian companies wanting to invest and trade and partner in sectors such as infrastructure, agro-industry, energy, hospitality industry. Culture. We have, and this is an heritage of history, the second largest and of nature, the second largest, the largest number of UNESCO sites in the world. So, without any arrogance, we are a superpower in culture. And we do share with Georgia, I think, a very ancient history, a very ancient culture, and also a very vibrant creativity. One can feel your ingenuity, your creativity everywhere. And this is the heritage of history, of an ancient culture. We have several ongoing archaeological missions. We assisted the Ministry of Culture to create an agency for cultural heritage protection. We are financing the courses to experts in restoration. We are dedicating many efforts to organize important cultural events and exchanges in every field: music, theater, cinema, fashion, design, art. We will bring Caravaggio the next fall, contemporary art. But we are doing that because we believe that we are a good partner to take advantage of Europe, for example, programs like Creative Europe, and also to enrich your cultural landscape and being even more attractive for tourists, because this has also an economic impact. Finally, education. The school of Tbilisi, Tsiskari School, will become fully fledged bilingual next year. It's a school I attach great importance to because it's also the symbol of the fruit of a history of, this is my wife, by the way, Yeah, exactly. As a history, is the result of a history of friendship. You know the story of many families in Sicily having hosted for more than a decade the IDP kids from Abkhazia, and this created bonds that went beyond that period and that story. And one of the fruit of that story was the creation of this school. We have been giving more than 350 scholarships only through the scholarships of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but there are many other scholarships from individual universities. Just yesterday, we were with the Prime Minister highlighting all the projects, for example, private sector carries out. For example, talking about professional training, Ferrero was able to train more than 3,000 agronomists in these recent years, and this is the demonstration of how foreign investment can be the driver for local development. And lastly, talking about science, I'm very proud of the fact that when you are thinking of creating a Georgian MIT, so a technological institute, able to attract talents and brains from the broader region, you are thinking of Italy. 4 out of 6, I think, scientists in the advisory board are Italians. And you are building it through a partnership with our National Institute of Physics. These are demonstrations of the bonds. And to conclude with 2 anecdotes, we love to say that we found the words to tell the story of our friendship a long time ago. That was creating a dictionary. And that dictionary dates 1629. It was the collaboration of an Italian and a Georgian, and was the first book printed in Georgian. And talking about culture, history, and economy, let me just mention, to conclude, the example of one of the first tourists 4 centuries earlier in 1200. It was a merchant from Venice, and he passed through Tbilisi and Georgia to go to China. And his name was Marco Polo, and he understood much earlier than everybody on us that Georgia was crucial and was on the way of the Silk Road, and it was crucial as a bridge towards East and West, towards Europe and Asia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. It is a pity that due to time constraints, we cannot comment on each and every intervention, which is, and we do appreciate the resilience of audience. So stay with us. We have 4 more very interesting interventions, and the next speaker is the Ambassador of Japan to Georgia, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Let me join my colleague ambassadors to thank Baton Irakli, the leadership, and the whole Parliament for today's event and hospitality. Well, it might be more suitable for me to be singing beautiful Georgian songs, but let me state today the following. Georgia and Japan have been enjoying close friendly relations on the basis of our common values. We admire and respect Georgia for achieving strong democracy, already becoming EU associate nation, not anymore a post-Soviet country, and also greatly contributing to the world peace. During the past 25 years, Japan, as one of the main pillars of the free world, as the only Asian member in G7 countries, as one of the main ODA donors, including as the top contributor to ADB, as one of the second largest contributors to EBRD, World Bank, and so on, has been cooperating with Georgia bilaterally and multilaterally. The best example may be the East-West Highway construction, as it is one of the most important components of Georgia's transit country status. With our very concessional 22 billion yen loan, the Stefani Kutaisi Samcheria section have been constructed, and the opening ceremony is planned with participation of the Prime Minister in the end of this month. We are happy to cooperate in Georgia's ecologically clean and medically advanced nation building. Recently, large-scale grand projects such as the solar panel system in front of Tbilisi Airport, air monitoring system in Tbilisi City, advanced medical equipment in National Medical Center and training centers were completed. Our ties have been strengthened also by grassroots and human security grant projects. In total, more than 150 projects were completed all over Georgia. One of my happiest moments is when I see smiling faces of children in rehabilitated kindergartens, and especially together with other ambassadors with whom we carried out joint projects. In this framework, mine clearance project has grave importance. Aiming at mine-free Georgia, during the past 8 years, we poured more than $4 million grant and cleared mines and unexploded remnants of war from 80 million square meter land of Georgia. As the result, not only farmers and shepherds can safely use the land, but also EUMM can safely carry out their mission. And this is a joint project with Ambassador Ian Kelly between Japanese and US embassies. I'm grateful that among today's invitees, we have famous figures representing hundreds of alumni of various scholarship programs by Japan, but because of the time constraints, I'm sorry, but to leave education and culture topics for the later opportunities. Last but not least, allow me to mention that a Japanese company's widely recognized highest technology dynamic face recognition system is used to find terrorists and criminals in airports and on streets. With its super accuracy and speed, it is making safe Georgia more safer. For the future, even during the last 2 months, we together took proactive steps forward. Our foreign ministers reached agreement to launch bilateral investment treaty negotiations. Japan relaxed visa requirements for Georgians. JICA regional office in Tbilisi was officially opened. We will start in this month our feasibility study through JICA regarding the last and most difficult mountain section of East-West Highway. So we are happy to cooperate further. Dabolos, Rovor Sakalves, Lamas Gerubzeria, Zala Ertbashia. Me fikrom, შეიძლება ითქვას, რომ განვითარება თანამშრომ ლობაშია. გამარჯვ საქართველოს, საქართველოსთან წარსულ აცმყო და მომავალ თანამშრომლობას გამარჯვოს. Thank you.
დიდი მადლობა ბატონ ელჩს. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Our next speaker is the Ambassador of Kingdom of Norway to Georgia.
Thank you very much, dear Georgians, dear friends, dear colleagues. Norway has fostered a number of world-famous writers. One of these was Knut Hamsun, sometimes also known as Knut Gamsun. Knut Hamsun came from a small village in the north of Norway. In that part of the world, the winters are bitterly cold, they are very dark, and they are not really prone to human life. but Norwegians are a rugged nation, and Knut Hamsun was a rugged man, so he stuck it out. In 1899, Knut Hamsun traveled to Georgia. He traveled to Armenia, to Azerbaijan, and to Persia. After those journeys, he wrote a book called I Eventyrlandet, in the land of fairy tales. This was quite a suitable title, because Knut Hamsun came from a part of the world that at that time was still very rugged. It was extremely poor. Norway was still at that time the poorest nation in Europe. And he came to a land where things grew very quickly. There were fruits, there were vegetables, there was hospitality, there was warmth, and there was a humanity that really impressed him. The book that he wrote was perhaps the first book in Norway that triggered interest for Georgia in Norway. Since then, a lot of things have changed. 100 years have passed. Norway has gone from being Europe's poorest nation to being the richest and most stable and prosperous nation in the world. Georgia has changed a lot as well. Georgia has lived through 70 years of Soviet government. It has lived through civil war. It has lived through hardships. And it has only over the last 25 years been able to try to re-establish its society anew. I think this is very important because it shows that history changes, realities change. When we want realities to change and when we are given the opportunity to change them, they can change. And I think this is a suitable topic for this evening. I hope that when we come back here in 25 years, Georgia will have solidified its democracy. It will have established itself as a prosperous and stable nation that contributes a lot both to its neighbors and to the world. Norway fully supports Georgia's democracy. We fully support your choice at NATO and European integration. And we show this support through a number of different projects. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll only mention 3 in this context. Hydropower is a big area of cooperation between Norway and Georgia. We have done a lot to promote inclusive education in Georgia. This means that people with various disabilities are included in the general education system. This fosters dignity, it fosters respect, and it fosters the notion that everyone is actually at some point in his or her life part of a minority, and that fosters change. We have also done a lot over the last few years to promote cultural exchange. Norwegian musicians come here every year, Georgian musicians travel to Norway, and we have very wide exchange of students and teachers, and this is something that we'll continue to work on. I want to congratulate you all Georgians on this event, on this celebration. I think we should all congratulate ourselves as well on 25 years of diplomatic relations, and as I said, I look forward to coming back here in 25 years and taking stock then. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Now from Norway, we move much closer to Georgia as we give the floor to Ambassador of Republic of Turkey to Georgia.
Thank you, dear Tamar. Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, colleagues and friends. I'm also very happy to be a part of this wonderful conference, and thank you for organizing and giving me the opportunity to be at this panel. I would try to be brief, given the time, and we are one of the last speakers together with my Romanian colleague. We ambassadors, of course, tend to usually brag about how important our work is, with all these political talks and diplomatic negotiations, which is quite important, of course. I'm not going to underestimate that. But as many of my colleagues have pointed out, for a relationship to be of a truly strategic nature and a sustainable character, I think, as the panel pointed out, building bridges through economic, social, cultural, and educational ties is as important, if not more, as the political, military, and security aspects of our relations. And there we are usually of a supportive nature to our business communities, to our agents of culture, academicians, scholars, and in fact the ordinary man on the street from whom we get the mandate to foster and nurture our relationship. In fact, I think we need to do everything possible to further and deepen and diversify the interaction between our populations, particularly in those fields. And in this regard, if we look at the 25 years of Turkish-Georgian relations, and if we consider it to be a true success, I believe it is of an exemplary nature in many ways. This is also and mainly because of the steps we take in this direction. For example, I mean, if you look at the social and cultural field, of course, living side by side as neighbors for centuries and having a large diaspora in the number of millions in Turkey and sharing so much in cultural terms definitely helps, I mean, to build those bridges between the two countries. But I think what we had, I mean, between the two governments, not only some time ago agreed to lift the visa requirement, but also agree on passport-free travel regime, as a result of which now millions of people, millions of Georgians and Turks are able to travel to each other's countries with quite ease and comfort. And that, of course, always helps to bring a better mutual understanding and brings us closer than ever between our countries. And I think on the educational level, I also agree with you, that, I mean, I think education is the greatest investment that we can do to the future of our relations. This is the most valuable sort of investment that we can do. And in that regard, I'm quite happy to note that, I mean, every year, 50 new students from Georgia travel to Turkey to continue their education, higher education in universities, by the scholarships that the Turkish government provides. But also every year, I mean, tens of Turkish students come to Georgia to continue their education in Georgian universities. At this point in time, we have close to 400 Turkish students going to Georgian universities. And every time I meet with them, I am more convinced that we have even a brighter future for our relations because of the investment that we do in the education level. But of course, economic relations are of course quite important as well. And in this regard, we are proud to be #1 trading partner of Georgia for the last 10 years and always in the top 3 in terms of investments. And again, of course, in that regard, proximity and neighborhood definitely helps. But I think we went beyond that. We took to a different level. We have a very good free trade agreement since 2007. And now we are even trying to expand the scope of this free trade agreement, not only to increase our trade volume of trade, but also to make it more balanced, to have more Georgian exports to Turkey. But also, I mean, we have this, very good relations because of the very good business and investment friendly climate in Georgia. So again, I mean, of course, it is the business communities working on the commercial dynamics which are making the difference. But I think governments will always have the possibility to further that by the decisions they take in that regard. And finally, I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I mean, in a panel talking about bridges, I would be remiss if I don't mention the bridges that Turkish and Georgia built, not only among themselves between the two countries, but between two continents, Europe and Asia, in many ways, but definitely in terms of energy and transportation. I mean, together with Azerbaijan, of course, in that regard. I mean, Baku-Tbilisi and a connection in Turkey has already become a brand, a global brand in energy and transport. Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil, Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum natural gas pipelines, and now we are soon to complete Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway, which is definitely going to help revitalize the ancient Silk Road, which my Chinese colleague has mentioned. So I think we are very proud of what we have achieved during the past 25 years, and we're looking forward to continue on this very good, pleasant journey, building upon our achievements already. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. And our final speaker who will conclude this panel is the Ambassador of Romania to Georgia, His Excellency. I will pass the floor to you, and special thanks to you for being the final speaker.
Thank you very much, Tamar. Your Excellency, Speaker of the Parliament, Deputy Speaker, members of the Georgian Parliament, dear friends. While I'll be the last to take the floor, I'll be probably not the least to speak tonight. And I want to tell you that I'm very happy to be here today and bring our contribution to this important event, which highlights the capacity of Georgia of becoming a serious and active partner in relation with the international states, with the international community. I'll be trying to be brief, even if we are living together, the peoples of Georgia and Romania, or the Romanians, a very long century history. We have been together, neighboring this important Black Sea region since a very long time. We had our history melted in the history of the region, but always what we had in common is to preserve our national values, our language, our confession. And this clearly brings us very close as natural partners in this region and in the world. Of course, in the last 25 years, our bilateral relations have been growing steadily. And the basic element, the fundamental element, it's actually the constant, continuous support of Georgia's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. More than that, Georgia has achieved many, many progresses, and we believe that the visa EU liberalization it's a very important moment that we have been steadily supporting. It's actually the main ingredient which will bring our bilateral relations and international relations of Georgia with other states in a different stage, much wider, especially when it comes to people to people. We have been talking about bridges, and we are talking about bridges, and I want to join my good friend Levent on the issue of bridges, because actually the Black Sea is not an obstacle. Black Sea, it's a bridge today which brings all our countries around, or almost all our countries around the Black Sea in a very special position and provide us an advantage not only to develop our bilateral relations, but especially to work together to regional projects. We are talking about corridors of transport, we are talking about corridor of energy. Let's remind you, these are also multicultural projects. While the relations between our countries have been steadily growing, I want also to bring a token of appreciation of the development of the relation, not only at the level of the government and other institutions, but at the level of the parliaments, which we believe is a very, very important dimension. Why? Also in line to this people-to-people concept, because it gives us the possibility of accelerating and enlarging contacts between our civil societies which are important ingredient and important partner also in providing modernization of the country and also the political and legislative dialogue. I would like to remind that there is a historical figure of Antimi Vireanu, a Romanian bishop, which 300 years ago was chairing the metropolis of Wallachia. And he was a Georgian, of Georgian origin, and had a very important contribution to the Romanian culture. Of course, there is an important dimension of education, and I am very happy to add, together with our colleagues, that many Georgian young people have studied in Romania. Only in the last 2 years, more than 160 of them traveled to Romania and to other universities, and also to remind the fact that among Georgian and Romanian universities there is a strong partnership which is developing every day. What I would like also to add into this dimension is something that probably not many people are speaking, and we are talking about twinnings, between towns and cities, both in Romania and in Georgia. And here, I believe it's also the moment to make an appeal also to the members of the parliament to support this kind of initiatives, because people-to-people contacts are actually providing the substance of this kind of initiatives. Ending, I would like also to refer to the future and to remind the fact that next year we are celebrating not only 100 years of the unification of the modern state of Romania, but also 100 years since Romania recognized the modern state of Georgia in 1918. Thank you very much for your attention.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and dear guests, thank you very much again for these very interesting discussions. As I said, we do not have that luxury to speak a lot about all these inspirational comments that we've heard today, but rather we have to move to continue our celebratory mood to mark the 25th anniversary to a reception. But before we finish our panel discussions, which I personally and I believe my colleagues found very useful and interesting, I would like to once again highlight the importance of our relations and how much we value your support towards Georgia. And from our side, it's our commitment to continue to work in all the areas that we have highlighted, starting from the democratization agenda, foreign and security issues, and of course all these important areas that we have just discussed, which is economy, education, cultural ties. And we are of course looking forward to the coming years, and not just 25 years of course, but beyond 25 years of very strong bilateral ties with your respective countries. Thank you once again for joining us for this very important event.